Hi there, sorry for the video camera shaking. I want to do a video for you today. This could be for my team, or this could be for people that are just looking up videos about how much Plexus cost and they want some information. But mainly this is for my team. My name is Angela Faith and I'm an ambassador with Plexus Worldwide and have been since October of 2013. At least that's when I started taking my products, and I signed up as an ambassador to get the discount, which is relevant to today's video. Okay, what I want to talk to you about is that sometimes you're going to run into people who say that it costs too much. And here is how I answer that. Now, what I'm going to say to you today is not necessarily the whole entire answer that I would have to somebody about it when they say that it costs too much, but get the gist of what I'm talking about. Let me start out with this. Americans spend $4 trillion a year on healthcare, mainly by dealing with the symptoms and the results of things that came from gut imbalances, blood sugar swings, insulin issues, whether in the diabetic range or not, and deficiencies of many, many nutrients, especially the omega-3, 5, 7, and 9, which your body absolutely needs and can't make. And most people don't get those nutrients. So really important. Between 15% and 40% of people's incomes, depending on the bracket that they're in, is disposable income. That means they get to spend how they use it or determine how they use it after they purchase their essentials. People in the lowest 1/5 of the income brackets are spending about twice as much as they're making. People in the middle income brackets who are making around $45,000 a year are spending about $35,000 a year of that. And people in the upper brackets who are making $149,000 and up are spending about $70,000 a year. The question is, where are they spending it? So I have tracked down these statistics and I've written them down and I'm presenting them in a video format for you so that when you're trying to figure out how to talk to people about these things, you'll remember the things that I've told you today. Where do people spend their money? According to the statistics and the data that's been collected, obviously taxes and housing is at the top. The second category is transportation and food. But the third highest category across all three income brackets is this one, entertainment and miscellaneous, other. So entertainment, miscellaneous, or other, that category is the third highest chunk where their money goes to. And when I say the third, what I mean is I'm combining taxes and housing, transportation and food into two main categories. So that's above education, healthcare, apparel, services, and even utilities. So these numbers come from concrete data, and they're true for the majority of people, even if they're not true for all the people on your street. The fact that they're true for the majority of people is why I've been able to build a really great Plexus business, because I have really great products. People do find a way to afford those products, and I don't have to keep doing that work month over month because I keep my customers most of the time, and most of the time my customers turn into ambassadors and turn around and do the same thing, or a lot of the time they do, because it'd be silly not to get paid for the products that you love and are telling people about anyway. So consistently, people are purchasing Plexus from me and having good results, and this is what's happening all over the place consistently. We're saving money on food, both in our portion sizes and the junk food that we're no longer purchasing, and a lot of times in not really stopping for fast food anymore. We're saving money on medical bills like co-pays and other big bills because of health concerns that are no longer a concern. We're saving money on prescriptions. I know in my house alone, my own prescription savings was $70 a month, and then my two teenage daughters, I was spending over $100 a month on their prescriptions. We're no longer having to purchase those. Don't get off your prescriptions. Talk to your doctor about that. If your health is sufficiently turned around and you don't need them anymore, then you don't need them anymore. But I'm not telling you to drop your prescriptions. Gym memberships that are not wasted. Health food that you purchase with the best of intentions and it sits and rots in your refrigerator and then you throw it away. And saving money on energy drinks and coffee that used to be somebody's mainstay in their life, and they don't really need those anymore at all. We're spending more time on family fun and activities and adventures, on physical things that we maybe were too tired or sore or overwhelmed to get done before. And getting to the gym and spending time with friends and doing fun things, where maybe we were too stressed or moody or sick or in pain to do those things before. That's absolutely been the case for me and so many people in my life. So yes, I do hear from people that, sorry, I put my notes up there. I do hear from people that one of the objections that they run into is people say that it costs too much. My answer to that is, you have to know how to talk to people about where they're allocating their money. Maybe it does truly cost too much. That is a small minority of people, though, where they actually wouldn't be able to find the little bit of extra that they need or reallocate that money to something that's important to them. It took me actually a really long time to bother making this video, because it's not been a roadblock to building my business, and it's not been a roadblock to building most of my team's business. And that's not because I have friends who just have money to burn. What it is that I do a good job at helping people to see how these products could be a benefit to their life and why it would be worthwhile for them. My position is people absolutely do have the money. Most people do. That's a fact. The data and the statistics supports that. They have the money. It's just a matter of whether or not their health is important to them, whether it's been prioritized, and whether they're willing to allocate the money to that or redirect it. And people will if they feel a powerful enough reason to do that. So I don't just sell a product. I'm selling a solution to some pretty major things in people's lives. I'm offering a solution, and that's very different than just selling a product. So here's the thing. You could get on 5 of my favorite Plexus products for about $6 a day. And that's like half of our product line right there. So let's just talk about that. Kiplinger's uses an example of someone who makes $29,000 a year as their income. That person spends about $7,250 a year combined on their food, entertainment, and other. That breaks down to $604 a month, which breaks down to about an even $20 a week. Wait, is that a day or a week? You do the math, okay. I think it's probably more than, okay. So could we possibly wiggle like $4 a day out of that for some life-changing products so that life is better in a lot of categories? In most cases, it's making life better for people pretty drastically. It was absolutely a radical transformation in my health, in my quality of life. It's absolutely worth the handful of dollars a day that I'm spending on this, or of saving money in so many other places, but my quality of life is better. I feel better. I'm happier. So we are doing that for people. I've lived it. My family's lived it. Many of my friends and relatives are living it, and so on. And that ripple effect has gone on and on. And it's really worth the try, because people maybe are overlooking the fact that we have a 60-day money-back guarantee. That's huge. You can send back your empty products and say that it didn't work for you and you'd like your money back, and you get your money back. So it's truly risk-free. It's totally worth finding out. So, okay, so here's another breakdown. This all comes from statistics that I pulled off of very credible sources. People on average are spending between $150 and $180 a week on food, $3,627 a year on miscellaneous things, which is different than the last statistic because I was pulling a specific income, annual income, and doing that one. But a lot of people make more than $29,000 a year. So now we're going to go with the national average. People spend over $2,400 a year on entertainment and over $1,200 a year on fast food on average. Here's a really cool one. The people that have gym memberships on average spend $87 a month on their gym memberships, and 67% of those gym memberships go completely unused. It's true. That came from thesimpledollar.com that collected that statistic from another credible source. Okay. Let's see. According to the NRDC.org, the United States dumps 40% of its food into landfills uneaten. In fact, the Environmental Working Group says that that's where a large portion of our actual emissions come from, and they specify that it is mostly from plant foods. Go ahead and fact check me. I've done my work. I've done my research. Think about that for a moment. How much of the food that you buy with the best of intentions and put in the refrigerator do you end up dumping out and not using? The statistics say 40% of our food gets dumped, uneaten. So that's $2,270 per family, a family of 4 annually, that's being thrown away. Just some statistics for you to work with. I'm betting lots of that would change if we had people on Plexus Slim and ProBio 5, because it would turn around the craving centers of their brains for the most part. That's what's happened for me. That's what happened for my family. That's what happens when you listen to the testimonials. You'll hear it over and over again. We don't waste our money on those foods anymore because we eat them. We eat healthy foods because we crave those healthy foods. And we crave those healthy foods because the Plexus products turned around the imbalances in our body and detoxified us so that we would start to crave the things that actually nourish our body. For instance, when I had been on Plexus for about 2 months, I was one of those, prior to Plexus, all my life, and I'm almost 40 years old now, I was one of those people who my weakness was nighttime, late night, watching a TV show, watching a movie, and I was going to snack on something that was not good for me. Most of the time it was going to be carbs, and it was probably going to be salty, and it probably had some vegetables or some protein thrown into it too, to make me feel better about it. Or I would just grab myself some popcorn, which was one of my favorites. Well, after I'd been on Plexus for a while, I stopped wanting to eat as big portion sizes. I was just done. I just felt done. I liked my food. I enjoyed my food, but my portion sizes got smaller because I just didn't want as much. Then I stopped snacking throughout the day. Then I found myself not snacking at night and just sitting there watching a show and not snacking, which was crazy. I never thought that would happen in my whole life. I didn't think I was that kind of person. And then one day I found myself sitting there and I actually was hungry. And I got up and I rummaged through my refrigerator and through my pantry, and I didn't find anything that I wanted. There were plenty of things there available, but I didn't want any of them. So I opened up my refrigerator drawer and I saw a bag of carrots, like carrots that I had to stop and peel and in order to eat them. And out of all the things that I found in my house, what I wanted was that carrot. The crazy thing about that is that I had said many times in my life, as much as I love vegetables, and all the ricey, starchy, carby bread things that you could put around them, as much as I loved vegetables, I didn't really like carrots. And if I did eat carrots, I was going to eat them cooked. For me to have overlooked everything else and chosen that carrot cracked me up. I couldn't believe it. Until you get on the Plexus products and give them really a fair shot and let them do what they're supposed to do, you won't know things like that. It may not sound like a ton of fun to eat a carrot, but what is a lot of fun is when that becomes what you want. That's crazy. So that was for me over 1.5 years ago that happened, and it has continued to be that way for me. That I sat down and was happy with that carrot. What I will tell you is that when you get on the Plexus products, first of all, commit to it. Give your body long enough to do what it needs to do. First of all, a lot of people don't. A lot of people quit. And I'll say 99% of those people that quit, they're going to be right back where they started 12 months from now. So that's the sad thing. So I always try to convince people through my stories and through my experiences to at least give your body time to do what it needs to do. But anyway, with regard to the cravings, you really might want to put some alternative stuff in your pantry and in your refrigerator. You know, the way that I explain it to people is if you would go to a party and there was all kinds of foods out, buffet style, you know, veggies and dip and things like that, and whatever you would love that was available at that party because it was already made and somebody already did it, so that's kind of why you ate it. Have that kind of stuff ready when you get going on Plexus, because at some point that stuff is going to totally satisfy you and you're not going to be interested in the carbs and the sugars, the sugary foods. or the sodas for that matter. I never tell anybody they have to drop their sodas because I know that they're probably not going to want them anymore. But anyway, have the other things available, because if you don't, you may fall into your old ruts. You might fall into your old habits because you haven't replaced the foods once your brain told you didn't need them anymore. One of my friends said it best when she told me, she has rheumatoid arthritis, and took her an entire year to finally say, okay, let's talk Plexus. I need to see what this is about. For an entire year, she saw what it had done for me, for my autoimmune disorders, for my fibromyalgia, and she hadn't reached out about it, and that's fine because I'm patient. But she finally reached out about it, and after a couple of months on the product, we were touching base one day about all the great things that were happening for her. She was definitely feeling better. Her appetite had absolutely changed. And we talked about it, and the way that she put it was so cute. She said, what it is about Plexus is that it doesn't knock the cookie out of your hand, but it does tell your brain that you don't really need that cookie. And see, that's huge for people. That is what the majority of people need, is that disconnect between the emotion and that drive to have the thing that they normally, that's a crutch or that's a vice, to say, I don't really need it. I'm indifferent to it. Being indifferent to those foods is huge. That is what Plexus does for people. Okay, so moving on. I'm almost done with my notes. So there's a difference between cost and price. So the question that I ask people when we get talking about cost is, what is the price of being held hostage in your life by poor health, by a failing immune system, by depression, mood, and anxiety disorders, by a lack of energy, by an inability to consistently win over food cravings and food choices? What is the price of being on disability? I know 4 people in my life who are off disability purely because of getting on Plexus products. What's the price of missing out on your kids' activities and your family things because of pain, fatigue, or other health issues? That's huge for me. That's what brings me to tears. That's what I got back because of Plexus. I don't miss out on family activities anymore. I went on a hike just recently with my family that I never could have done 2 years ago. I went ziplining 12 months ago for my son's 8th birthday, which 12 months prior to that, before finding Plexus, I could have never done. I couldn't have done it because of pain. I couldn't have done it because of fatigue. I wouldn't have had the energy to do it. What is the price you're paying? What is the price that other people in your life are paying? What's the price you're paying for being sick and tired of everything? Don't you want to know what it feels like to feel as good and vibrant and healthy and happy as all of these crazy Plexus people are? And really, what is the price of not trying? What if all these thousands of Plexus people are right about what it changed for them? I know you're skeptical. I understand that. I was skeptical too. But what if they are right? What if, as crazy as it sounds, doing this crazy pink drink and this probiotic and the other supplements actually creates a balance that you haven't had in your adult life? And what if you give it a try for 90 days and see what happens? What if you find out it's all true? That's what I ask people, because the cost of a few dollars a day to do all of those things, or even to prevent yourself from getting to any of those problem things in your health, is so worth it. Absolutely, people have the money. Absolutely, people come up with it. There's a small minority who truly can't. And when that happens, I try hard to work with them. If they really want these products and they really want to commit to the products, I will work with them to try to help them find a way to afford it. But for the majority of people, they can find that way if they decide it's important enough. And if somebody's not going to decide it's important enough to them, then they're not going to stick with the products anyway. So that's my answer to cost, and hopefully that gives everybody something to work with as they're trying to share these products with other people. And I hope you guys have a great day.